This is a major Army and Air Force exercise. The situation established is an attack by hostile forces across a desert area. Their objective, the city of El Paso, Texas. Ours, the friendly forces, are composed of a unique air cavalry brigade. The brigade includes air cavalry troops, ground cavalry with anti-tank weapons mounted on dune buggies, motorcycle-mounted scouts, attack helicopter troops, air mobile 105s, mechanized infantry, armored units, and an air defense battalion. The hostile forces, represented by an armored cavalry regiment, are equally well equipped. 4 Air Force tactical fighter squadrons provide air support to the attacking regiment. The aggressor launches an attack and makes a deep penetration into an area not far from our most forward airfield. The brigade commander conducts an aerial reconnaissance. He determines that the airfield must be designated as a critical asset, requiring additional and immediate air defense protection. Through G3, the Chaparral Vulcan Battalion commander is requested to provide the necessary support as soon as possible. The terrain in the area is mountainous and rugged. Roads do not exist. And while both Chaparral and Vulcan are tracked weapon systems that can go almost anywhere, in this instance, the Air Defense Commander decides to airlift 4 M54 Chaparral guided missile launching stations, which will be demated from their carriers. He makes this decision because time is short and the mission is urgent. This airlift is a tactical move, typical of what can be expected in modern warfare. Properly carried out, the fast emplacement of Chaparral missile launching stations to remote areas can mean the difference between holding or losing critical assets, such as forward area landing zones or ammunition and fuel resupply points. This is how it is done. A BTR or a wrecker will be needed to lift the platform. In this case, a wrecker will be used. An organizational maintenance shop set from the headquarters platoon and 2 systems maintenance men will be needed to help your crew. They will bring the required special tools and equipment. In combat situations, the Chaparral launching platform should be ready with their lifting shackles already mounted at the 4 corners. If they're not on, get the shackles out of the storage compartment and bolt them to the platform. Now, start by helping the 2 maintenance men remove the 4 inside missile coffins at the after end of the Chaparral. These contain live missiles, and their handling is supervised by the squad leader. Removing the 4 missiles from the inside storage compartments clears the access passages to the large bolts that secure the platform to its carrier. Meanwhile, your 2 other crewmen are removing the bolts that hold the blast shield to the carrier. There are 24 smaller bolts at the bottom of the blast shield. Take them out first and store them in the tool bag, carried in the crew equipment compartment. Next, take out the 5 large bolts at the top. Have 2 men hold the shield as it becomes loose. It will take all 4 crewmen to lift the shield free. It weighs about 350 pounds. Although you could pass a line through a bolt hole and lift the shield with the wrecker, this could damage the threads in the bolt hole, so use your muscles. The maintenance men from the headquarters platoon are busy preparing to unfasten the 4 major bolts that mate the platform to the Chaparral carrier. They open the covers to the access passages at the after end of the launching station. There are also rubber covers to the passage holes that must be removed from inside the missile storage compartments. With the access passages clear, the special wrench to torque the main bolts can be inserted. The same procedure is followed on the front end of the platform. Note that when you remove the 4 inside missiles, you also cleared the access passages to the 2 main bolts on this side. As the bolts are being removed, the Chaparral crewman will disconnect the communication cable at the right side of the platform. After the cable is unfastened, disconnect it from its holding clips and fasten it securely with cloth adhesive tape to the side of the platform so that it does not hang loose. The 4 main holding bolts are off, and the missile coffins are put back in place. As these tasks are completed, another Chaparral crewman fastens 4 steel cables to the lifting shackles so that the wrecker can lift the platform free from its carrier. Now, before the platform is lifted, ropes must be secured to the shackles so that the system can be held steady while the crewmen remain well clear. This is an essential procedure and a vital safety precaution. As the whole crew is occupied in steadying the load, the squad leader has previously designated one of the maintenance men to drive the carrier. Now, very carefully, the carrier is eased out from under the launching station. Before the carrier is driven off, the 4 bolts that fastened it to the platform will be fitted back into their bolt holes so that they will not be misplaced. Once this is done, the carrier should be moved a considerable distance from the platform to leave plenty of room for the helicopter to maneuver. The next step is to fit the platform onto the special airlift jackstands that come with the airlift kit. It takes 4 men to handle these stands, So 2 of the crewmen have been designated to leave their ropes and join the squad leader and one of the maintenance men. The stands are placed under the platform, so the bolt heads on the jack stands fit into the 4 holes at the platform corners. Note that these holes are the same ones that were used to fasten the platform to its carrier. When the crosspiece and jack stands are fastened to the launching station, they provide a leveling platform that can be lifted or lowered at each corner as needed to properly emplace the weapon. With the platform in place, the wrecker has completed its mission and may return to the headquarters platoon. Meanwhile, the steel lifting cables will be removed and stored in the proper compartment on the maintenance truck. There's one more important thing to do before rigging for the airlift. Open the access door to the air conditioning unit for the gunner's compartment. Reach in and release the azimuth brake for the turret. All clear. The cables have been stowed, so now rotate the firing turret 90 degrees clockwise from its normal firing position. Relock the azimuth brake and you're ready to rig. Rigging for the airlift is easily and quickly done by using the multi-leg cargo sling. The cargo sling has 4 23-foot web straps with chain ends and a 1-foot diameter nylon web ring. If you anticipate an airlift, you can order this sling in advance. After connecting the sling to the lifting shackles, the ring is placed on top of the load. Warning, a hovering helicopter develops a high static voltage, enough to knock you flat off the load if the lifting hook is not grounded. So before you grab the hook with your hand, you must protect yourself with a grounding device. As the helicopter hovers overhead, you touch the hook momentarily with the wand end of the grounding device, thus releasing the static charge. Another thing is that the high noise level of the CH-47 turbine engine could permanently damage your hearing. And when it's hovering low, It can blow up an A1 sand or dust storm. So before the Chinook is brought into the area, be sure to put in your earplugs. And of course, wear your protective goggles. The squad leader must be fully trained in using the right signals to guide the helicopter pilot. This means, come this way. Slow down. Hover. The sling is on, and as soon as the squad leader sees that his men are clear, he signals to raise the load. Okay, take it away. Before you leave, don't forget the blast shield. It should be lifted onto the carrier and taken back to your assembly area. In a few minutes, the Chaparral crew will be picked up by a UH-1, transported to the forward airfield. As the Chinook carrying the M54 launcher will fly at about 70 knots, the crew will be there well in advance of their weapon. At the landing zone, which has been secured by the air cavalry troops, it's important that you select the best emplacement site. Take into consideration the location of other air defense units. You should be no further than 2 kilometers from the next Chaparral launching platform. Also consider the terrain features. There should be no vertical objects to impede your lines of fire. Are you covering all the possible avenues of aircraft approach, such as a gap between 2 mountains? Is the ground reasonably flat so that your weapon can be properly leveled? Is there a suitable location for your observation post? Okay, you've chosen the best possible site in the area assigned to you for air defense. And here comes your weapon. Unloading it is really very simple. When the load is on the ground, a signal is made to the pilot, who can release the slings automatically from his cockpit controls. Total time to prepare and hook up one Chaparral M54 launching station for airlifting, less than 45 minutes. Done by knowing in advance what to do and who is responsible for each move. Lifting shackles ready. Clear the access passages to the main bolts. Take off the blast shield. Don't forget the communication cable. Use ropes to steady the platform and to help guide it over the jackstands. Rotate the turret 90 degrees and lock it in this position. Attach the multi-cargo sling to the shackles of the lifting platform. Make sure that every man follows the safety procedures. Know your signals. After the emplacement is ready, you reload the missiles on the launcher. Then, you must carry out a prepare for action drill. The weapon is now combat ready. Meanwhile, other Chaparral launchers have been airlifted to the forward area landing zone. And along with them, additional loads of ammunition, missiles, equipment, and troops have been brought in to provide for a strong defense. A second air attack is launched by the aggressor. But this time, the increased air defense is judged sufficient to protect and retain this critical asset. And the total number of hostile aircraft designated as having been destroyed is enough to turn the tide of battle.